Like I'm on the out, so I'm not gonna roll in and tell you how to do this. But yeah, the first half of the draft's literally the worst thing ever. It's literally cancer.
Thank God events started switching things up a little bit.
Yep.
Having the camera on the crowd or the panel or the casters or something.
Needs to be panel, man. Like I always believe that like it was silly the casters were the ones who were analyzing draft most of the time.
Let's see.
Who'd have thought we'd be in a meta where Lifestealer and Ricky are first ban material?
Yeah, what a weird meta.
Yeah.
Oh, these chairs are nice.
Yeah, they're not Need for Seat, thank God. I'll never sit in another Need for Seat chair. The rest of my life, I'll be happy.
Phoenix? That's a veggies play right there. First pick Phoenix. It is not a good play.
I think the last time I played Dota, my status that I put out in the client was Phoenix is a dumb hero. Because every time I play it, it's broken, and every time I play against it, it beats me.
Oh, we're going to Dota TV right now. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. We're not going to start the real cast until the draft is a little bit further in, because you know how it is. It's boring. It's boring. Like, oh, look, Bad Rider is picked up. I wonder if there's going to be a Disruptor in here somewhere. Wow.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Oh, we switched it up. We switched it up. It's the Oracle. That is actually a really weird switch.
Reserve time.
Are they going to do the Faceless Void hero?
Here it's a good hero.
Faceless Void Phoenix?
He's got sick arcanas, dude.
Faceless Void Phoenix?
Faceless Void.
Oh, and there it is! Wow!
Are you a wizard?
I am an oracle. Oh wait, I should probably get rid of it. I'll go offline.
10 seconds.
Alright, you ready to start?
Sure.
Alright. And 3, 2, 1.
Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. Welcome in to this morning coverage, at least morning here on the West Coast, of the International 2016. We're in the TI6 Qualifiers U.S. Division. I'm EC. Finally crawled out of my cave once again in San Francisco, made my way down to join our friends here at BTS, and this time joined by Cap. Cap, it's been a long time since you and I got to cast together.
It has been a long time. What was the last time we cast together was probably one of the TI hubs, and then before that we did the online tournament together.
Yep, like when I like
D2CL.
Yeah, D2L. Yeah, we did D2CL, and then I remember right when you were first breaking into the scene, and Lord knows you've risen like a rocket at this state of your career, but way back in the day, back in the D2L days. So awesome to be back on the mic with you, and those in Dota TV got a sneak peek of the kind of stuff the casters talk about, generally the comfort of chairs and making fun of picks and immortals and that such. But about we turn to the draft and take a look at where we stand so far? Lifestealer, Enchantress, and the Elder Titan banned out by FDL, while Phoenix and Faceless Void led the way for DKB. Behind that band, the Beastmaster, Ricky, and Death Prophet, of course, Batrider, and Oracle for FDL.
Yeah, I think this openings were kind of standard on both sides. I made the joke that like Phoenix first pick is something that Veggies would do, and Veggies decided that opening on a Phoenix is actually quite a bad play. We think that that was one of the mistakes we made in our drafting when we went back over our games, is that first pick Phoenix isn't...
I was going to say, why is that? Why is it a bad play?
It's just like, it's a hero that can still be exploited. It's not as strong as it used to be. It's still really good for team fights and everything else, but it does sometimes leave you a little bit open in the laning phase. So especially if you're planning, if you want to be able to run like a greedy 4 position, like a bounty hunter or a Riki that roams around, Phoenix is a piss poor support to just, try and zone out a hero. It's very bad in that regard. So they still managed to get the combo though, even though they first picked Phoenix. They managed to get the second pick, Faceless Void. So they have this really good team fight synergy that we saw a lot. This is oftentimes a second pick scenario. When you have second pick, you'll go Phoenix, Faceless Void as a 1-2, just because it's such a... Like, team fights are everything right now in this meta. So if you have better team fight, you've probably got an advantage, to be perfectly honest. FDL, meanwhile, the Batrider, Oracle was a little bit of a swap from, say, Vengeful Spirit or Disruptor, which would be a little bit more standard, but I think that they're still going to be pretty happy. No surprise that Venge is finally picked up by DrinkingBoys, though.
Yeah, Visual Spirit joining the two there, the Faceless Void and the Phoenix, as you had mentioned. Lion picked up by FTL. Now, I want to talk briefly about Oracle. Oracle's one of those heroes that, at least from what is now my amateur chair, sitting back and predominantly watching from home, one of those heroes that, when handled well, can just look unstoppable, but very low threshold for mistakes, I would say. It's the kind of hero you have to get something out of early on and have to ensure, set your team up well before the game really hits solidly mid-game, where the team fight potential that you've mentioned comes into play that much. If you're Oracle, or if you're FDL and you've picked Oracle in this lineup, now we see the Timbersaw in 4th position. Talk to me about how you plan to use that hero in particular in team fights, knowing what you're up against, and how you want to maximize his impact.
Well, Oracle is one of those great heroes that if you... Like, Oracle... honestly, I think Oracle is an OP hero, but he just doesn't fit the meta very well. If games were a lot slower, he'd be perfect. But as is, he's just like a strong hero. He can get run over in the laning phase, and that's one of the dangers. But I think when you open with a Phoenix, it kind of tells you there's not going to be that roaming 4 position, so you're unlikely to see an aggro dual lane. Thus, you can get a little greedy with your support. So in that regard, you just have to get through the laning phase, do okay there, and then you're sitting in the mid game and you just sit back in the team fights, right? And if DrinkingBoys initiate with the Faceless Void Phoenix combination, they're trying to focus a hero down, say they even Juggernaut Omni Slash, you're just looking for the saving grace of that ultimate that allows you to be able to get off your abilities. And we've seen that in the previous patch, all the way back in Frankfurt Major. Like, this whole year has had a very similar style. Even though the patches have changed, they haven't changed the meta all that much. It's still very team fight oriented. In that regard, being able to save a hero from being eliminated and allowing it to get off its abilities can make that team fight, even to your favor because of that. That's why, like, in Frankfurt Major, right, Dazzle was one of the big heroes, because you always want to have a saving grace hero. So FDL, I'm not entirely sure what kind of carry they plan on running. Maybe it's something like Slark would be okay here. Slark would actually be pretty good. Any kind of mobility. That's why DrinkingBoys banned away the Animage, just because, like, they know they're going to get screwed out by mobility because they don't have very much lockdown. They have Chronosphere. That's a huge lockdown, but their 2 supports kind of lacking. Their other carry lacking in that regard as well. And unless they pick up a really control heavy mid, which aren't as popular right now, it's much more often that you see some sort of semi-carry style mid, which is usually lacking on disables. Then they're going to be having some issues. That's why Timbersaw was a great pickup, I think, by FDL. Timbersaw is very rapidly becoming one of the best heroes of the patch. Something about the hero is just able to work. The greediness of mid-laners, it works out there. There's also some scenarios where it can work out on offlane. Obviously not here, but there are some scenarios where you can even pick up Timbersaw on the offlane, which we're seeing in the pub meta quite a bit. And DrinkingBoys go for a Zeus. Honestly, I'm not a big fan. If they're gonna go if they were gonna go a losing hero in this meta, I would have liked to see like a Puck maybe. I'm not sure if Puck abuses Timbersaw enough, but at least you would be offered a bit more control pending this last pick of FDL, which I presume is going to be a mobile hero like Slark.
One thing that jumps out, it's a very small thing, mind you, but with the Zeus pick, you have two initiators that generally want to build Blink, Bad Rider, and the Lion. I like the idea of being able to take a team fight, start it off with a Zeus ult, put the Blinks on cooldown, and slow down a little bit of the mobility that FDL happen to have. And you brought that up, and the Timbersaw as well. So it looks like they're going to go with a semi-mobile hero, I would say, in the Morphling. So taking a look at the front five for both, who do you give the edge to?
Definitely the edge to FDL. It was pretty much like no matter what FDL last picked, unless it was something that was really off the wall and I didn't agree with, I was going to side with them. Just because I knew like it's going to be a mobile hard carry, not Slark, but Morphling instead. I think Morphling, how does it, I think it works out better because Faceless Void, Zeus, those two heroes are okay versus Slark just because they can lock Slark down, and then Zeus also has a big nuke that he can throw down on the ground and hit the Slark. So you want AoE disables and AoE nukes usually against a Slark. So it would still be a really strong pickup, but it's just Morphling is slightly better because of those two heroes. Morphling can tank through Juggernaut and Zeus really easily. They have a limited amount of burst damage that they can output, and as long as Morphling's able to survive through that, he's going to be good. And then they've got another tanky hero in the Timbersaw, who is very similar in that regard, very mobile. As long as he survives through the initial nukes, he's going to output a lot of damage. And there we go. There's the opener.
Yep. So, start things off with a pause, as is the standard way to go. Once again, if you're just tuning in, it is DKB taking on FDL. We are here in the TI6 America's Region Qualifier. I'm your host, Aaron A.C. Chambers, joined by Capitalist, a name that I would say very, very few of you need to be introduced to at this point. So, we'll break down the laning phase here in a moment once we get back underway. While we do have a pause, why don't we talk briefly about how you feel about both of these squads? Now, I'll be totally transparent with you. Coming in, I mean, you played your way into this. You were attempting, you with Veggies were trying to work your way in. Do you have any experience with these squads?
I have no idea who DrinkingBoys is.
Okay, good.
No one does. Like, I mean, to be fair, like we kind of know who they are.
Yeah.
Like I know Shanks. Like I've played with Shanks. He's a pretty good player in my opinion.
I'm sure he's rung for a few American schools.
Yeah. He's been around the scene for a little bit. The rest of these guys I don't really know. But you know that was just the thing about this. It was like with the other team, I don't even remember what their name is now, but like these are the two squads that it was like super questionable because essentially every single squad had broken up post the roster lock, so Valve had to reach out. Volter, that's right, it was Volter Gaming. It's it has an old teammate of mine, DDX, really good player. Just happens to be one of those guys that is in the wrong region, but you know that's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have no idea. Like DrinkingBoys, like that's going to be a total question mark for me. FDL, I do know. I don't think we played against them in any of our qualifier runs, but we saw them, and they are quite good. I actually think this is probably your dark horse for an upset. Like there is a very clear top three in America. You have 3 tier 1 teams, so the rest are like tier 3.
Right.
FDL is the one team that can make that jump between the gap of tier 3, tier 2 to actually take out a tier 1 team and place one of the top 3 slots going into TI. I wouldn't give an opportunity to pretty much any other team.
Well, we saw 2 quick TPs mid. Nothing happened, though. They just kind of stared longingly at each other across the waters. Now both teams beginning to move out. As they do move out, we got 50 seconds till the horn blows. How about we take a look at who's handling who on both sides? For DKB, beginning with the Venge, that's going to be Shanks, as you had mentioned, a guy who's been hanging around the scene for quite some time. Gatovas, have no idea if that's being correctly pronounced, but we're going to roll with it anyway. He's on the Zeus. Phoenix going to be played by Mantal. It's going to be the Juggernaut handled by Sakula. And Void played by Mad. On the other side, Oracle played by Stan King or Lashrick, whichever he prefers. It's going to be CC handling the Timber Saw, Morphling played by Bean, Lion going to be played by Franz, and MJW handling our Bad Riders. So we're going to see the rune spawn here briefly. Don't know that we're going to see a whole lot of action. Looks like it's pretty standard with both teams just breaking up and ensuring they get at least one rune, though Getovas is out there a bit. Yeah, looks like, yeah, standard rune stuff.
Yeah, nothing really that they need to do at this point in time.
Mad takes a little damage, but he's going to make it back. So lanes are beginning to take shape. Talk to me about the laning phase, Cap, how you feel about both sides and who you think is going to win each matchup.
So the Zeus was a pretty questionable pickup in my mind, but it can at least do one thing, which is abuse the Timbersaw in mid. That is the thing. It was like Timbersaw used to be, you look back a couple weeks in this meta, and Timbersaw was not picked as a mid until you knew what you were matching up against. Like when you knew there's a Dragon Knight or an Alchemist mid, you would pick the Timbersaw because you know that matchup can go favorably for you. But now we're seeing people, as we play Timbersaw more and more, we're seeing how impactful he is going into the mid game. We're saying to ourselves, like, why don't I pick up this hero more? Like, right. why do I wait until, like, oh, it has the favorable matchup versus an Alchemist? Why don't we just pick up the hero anyway? If it can do well enough in the laning phase, if it survived through that, it's so impactful in the mid game. And mid is the best place for it to be at, to be honest. It's like, it's able to very easily abuse reactive armor. So you just you aggro onto the enemy hero to draw creep aggro onto yourself, so you start taking right clicks. So you'll always be at this area where you're at 5 armor and 5 HP regen, which is pretty absurd. Like we used to look at the offlaners that had 3 regen a second and be like, damn, that's really cool. And then the mangoes came into play and you're like, oh, you could get like 4 regen a second. And like Timbersaw, he walks around to level 1, he gets 5 regen a second instantly. It's just how he rolls. So he is going to get a bit abused by the Zeus, but I think he still does all right. He brought the extra regen for himself to weather through this.
Yeah, hanging around and seems to be doing a fairly solid job so far. How about up at top? Just in a complete abandoning of the off lane by FDL. Instead, moving with the Bat from level 1 into the jungle with the Iron Talon. They've got the supports, of course, doing their work up here. Faceless Void, Mad, is sitting at just level 1.5, so he is being zoned out fairly effectively.
Yeah, I think at this point you're just... if you're MJW, you're like, okay, I'm not even going to try the lane. Just go start jungling as the Bat. Mad, it's really rough. This is actually probably another one of the reasons to play Morphling. Morphling versus Faceless Void is actually one of the better carry counters to the offlane Faceless Void. Because you have really high damage, so you're just going to get a whole bunch of denies. He can't usually abuse you. Now, I've seen, I forgot what game it was, like Admiral Bulldog, who managed to pick up a First Blood as Faceless Void against Morphling, but normally you can't abuse this hero. You're just going to miss a whole bunch of CS, and you're going to take damage over time, which is obviously the best way to deal with Faceless Void. He's got that time walk, really good versus nukes, really good versus Oracle, actually, but the Morphling can single-handedly zone him out once he gets to like level 4 or 5. So I played this matchup quite a few times, and it's incredibly obnoxious. So yeah, I think there's like a lot of reasons that now that I look at it, that Morphling becomes stronger and stronger in my head.
We are seeing a lot of support movement here towards mid. Franz has made his way over. Shanks was there to try to provide some support for Getovas a little while ago, but looks like not going to be anyone in any real danger. Just a little bit more of a focus here on mid for the moment. Taking a look at the early CS leaders, no surprise to see Morphlings up at the top, 17 for him. Jug, of course, right there with him, 16 and 4. Timber doing well in mid, as anticipated, 15 CS to the 13 of Zeus, now 14. Bat's doing well in the jungle, 13 CS for him. Then after that, a grab bag. The big loser, of course, the one we're pointing out, as you just explained exactly why this is the case. Mad, who's already back at base. He has managed to find level 2.5 now at the very least, but 0 farms, sitting at 4 CS at 3 minutes and 15 seconds into the game.
Yeah, he's going to start doing some Iron Talon gaming. Franz going to be in some trouble in the bottom lane. Looks like this is going to be our first blood if he just gets run down by this Sunray and spin to win.
Yep, Shanks was there in case they needed him, did not need him. Now we're going to see MJW come in, eat a magic missile in the face, trying to get some damage done to Sakula. He does have a healing ward if he wants to drop it. Here comes
got him dead.
Yeah, he's in trouble. That's 4 stacks now, the sticky napalm. Here comes Franz. Doesn't matter. Return kill for the Bat, and that's a huge help for him. Takes him just shy of level 5.
Yeah, this really helps out Mikey quite a bit. He's like starts off in the jungle. He's already doing much better than the Faceless Void, and now because of that play where he already had the TP in case they went for the dive like that, and he gets up to level 5 by minute 4. This is an absurdly good time for a Bat Rider. So I don't know. FDL are already off to a really great start in the laning phase. Like the Timbersaw is doing well enough in mid. He's not like he's level 5 now, so that abusable point for the Zeus I think is kind of over. Like all CC has to do at this point is just keep himself like relatively healthy past like 500 HP, and he'll be okay. He probably won't even he's not even susceptible to a gank because Vengeful Spirit is a very poor leading stun, just because the range isn't very good. So CC is he's gonna be doing great. Bisa at top. He has the name Bean, but his name is actually Bisa.
Bisa,
playing the carry. He's an English player, known for some memes, and is very good. He's actually a very good player.
Smoke gank here on mid. Oracle under cover of smoke. Looks like Franz might have been under smoke as well, but maybe had it popped to get to Vas. Gonna be in trouble. CC's gonna make a run. There's the Hex, and yep, that's gonna be all she wrote. Very easy kill here in mid. CC's gonna be... No, actually, Franz is the one who takes it, so support's getting a little bit of love. We actually saw Franz almost die at bottom a moment ago as well, but the TP in from the Oracle was enough to save him. So FDL continuing to pile it on. They're up 3-1, my friend.
Yeah, and it's just going to get worse from here. Faceless Void isn't really going to get much, and very likely as time goes on, he's going to get eventually found out by the line that double disables with the Morphling's burst damage could be enough to actually get him. And I don't see like any heroes that they can gank as DrinkingBoys. Like the Venge Phoenix combination, it's okay as a ganking duo, but you really need a better initiating stun than what Venge can offer. And you can't gank the Bat Rider because Bat Rider's spending half the time in the jungle. I don't think you can gank the Timbersaw, as we talked about before. And top lane is not the lane to go to. Yeah. Ganking Morphling lanes without like incredibly heavy control, I'm talking like Disruptor Static Storm type control, is just a failed gank waiting to happen.
Speaking of, could be a gank on the way potentially. Get to Vus, finds an invis. We'll see if he wants to do anything with it. Hasn't popped it yet. He is going to move north with DKB back into the Dyer's side. And it looks like they may try a wraparound here. MJW has had a couple of good finds. Picking off a couple of pulls, attempted pulls, and really getting himself to a great position. Now level 7. And keep in mind, he did start at level 1 in the jungle. So able to, with the help of that kill and some really good movement, put himself in a great position to be active on the map. And not quite half, but certainly making good progress towards his Blink Dagger. He's going to be in some trouble here if they decide to commit. He's going to need help. Let's see. Looks like Phoenix is going to drop the Timber in the meantime. Now they're going to engage on the MJW. And he's going to take to the skies. Not going to be enough, though, as Zeus is there, spins the ult to secure the kill. And DKB gets one they really needed.
That was a very sloppy play. I managed to quickly catch the Phoenix death, and that was... I mean, he just sat there. He, like... Timbersaw, you're facing up against a squishy strength hero. That's like the dream right there. But the fact that Phoenix was so slow to actually get the Icarus dive out.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he just gets bursted.
That was really just a good positioning combined with, I don't know, slow reaction. He walked around the corner in nighttime, got hexed, and the chain stuns were on for FDL, so that's going to make it 5-2. And Void, who is already hurting, he's sitting on just brown boots, a shield, and an Iron Talon. If you're in his position, man, how do you recover from this? What's the plan?
He needs to be jungling more. He shouldn't even try and be leading his lane. Looks like mid's going to go down, though. They've got the first damage to bring the Zeus down. And they don't even have the opportunity to respond. Again, it's just like these heroes are too tanky, and they don't actually have the kind of supports to really effectively they have to provide such an overwhelming amount of ganking potential to successfully get a kill on someone like a Timbersaw that it's just not going to work out. Like when they do get a kill, it's on the Bat Rider at the bottom lane where they rotated the Zeus all the way around behind the tier 1. Right, that's like hardly even worth the effort. If Bat Rider wasn't having such a fantastic game, it actually wouldn't be worth the rotation.
Right.
But, that's what we're talking about here. Like, they have to commit so heavily just to be able to get the pick off. And FDL, they know that. So they're going to keep the lanes, like, kind of static how they are. They're going to keep CC in the mid lane, farming away. They'll have the supports rotate every once in a while. But otherwise, they're just going to play, I think, pretty reactively for the most part. Just TP in when the time is right. Looks like they're going to go for the Morphling at top. Again, Oh no, they're searching for the Bat Rider. Okay, that's much smarter, but they're not going to find him.
Well, they found Franz. More accurately, Franz found them. Morphling's going to show his face. Here comes Bisa, I believe you said his name was.
Yeah.
So poking his nose around. He's still in really good position so far as CS. Hasn't had the biggest impact. Did help in the 1 kill on Mad, but he is really starting to pull away. Jug, though, you have to give it to DKB. You know, that team is struggling on the board and across individuals. But for the most part, he has been active. He's been a part of multiple kills, has been moving around a fair amount, and is still number 2 on the CS board. So at the very least, he's carrying his own water.
Yeah, he is. It's questionable how much of an impact he's going to have in this game, though, just because, like, Timbersaw, again, is going to be a hero to fight through. Morphling's not a hero that you can very easily bring down with Omni Slash, so it just kind of leaves the Bat Rider, who is more of a counter to you than you are to him. He's farming well, but he's got to get, like, Battle Fury and get, I would have to say, at least, like, 7k ahead of the Morphling to have as big of an impact past 25 minutes as the Morphling will. Because Morphling's just naturally, like, he will do more with less gold.
Right.
That's the kind of carry that Morphling is.
So in other words, they need to start winning team fights like now, because as it stands, FDL is beginning to inch towards their most important core items. Blink, just a couple hundred gold away from MJW. In fact, he'll have it by the end of this minute, it would seem. Take a look across the board. The Lion is actually nearing his Blink. He's at 1,700 gold, if indeed that's the direction he wants to go.
Jesus. How is he close to his Blink and he's not even level
he's on
6
tier
yet?
1 boots. I mean,
Jesus.
like, so skipping the upgrade to tier 2 makes sense. He's also got a tome, though.
Yeah.
Never mind, it was bought for him, so not that bad. Either way, that's kind of, and you highlighted that for good reason during the draft. The mobility on the side of FDL is just going to be something that can't be trifled with, and especially when you combine that with Morphling, who is well on his way to an extremely impactful mid game. DKB's got to feel under the gun. Like, what are your steps? How do you approach the deficit you're going to find yourself in? This isn't how. Mad caught with the first Blink and the lasso.
Well, you ask the question, and Faceless Void dies, and it's rather coincidental because Faceless Void is the hero that DKB needs in order to get back into this game. Right. They have to wait for their level 6s. They've got it on the Faceless Void. They're trying to get it on the Phoenix right now in mid. They're actually giving him the solo experience just so he can have that ultimate, because that's their way back into this game. If they can successfully get a 2 or 3 man chrono with a supernova laid out over the top, and then have Zeus in the background, they can easily win a team fight with that kind of setup. But again, I think FDL are just going to keep themselves rather spread. They can have Morphling on one side of the map, Timbersaw on the other. We're talking like 20-25 minutes, or maybe even 30-35 minutes, but these two heroes will be on opposite sides of the map, and then they'll have this gank squad of the Lion and Bat Rider picking you off, because when the lanes are being split push, you naturally have to actually split up yourselves in order to actually deal with that. Otherwise, you're going to start losing objectives. So you start splitting up across the map, and then they start getting successful ganks on you. And then the Oracle just needs to, like, sit behind one hero, like whatever hero thinks is most likely going to be ganked, and they can even stop that Chronosphere combo.
They're going to go on CC. There's a swap. Magic Missile to follow. They will be able to bring it down. Tanky as he is, he's not tanky enough to survive 4. So smoke well spent, and decent amount of gold picked up for 12 minutes in for the person netting the kill. They're going to go ahead and peck away at the tier 1. Here we go. Lasso used again. Mad is going to be there. There's going to be the Phoenix Egg. They're going to be able to bring it down without even trying. And Bisa just helping to lay into things. That should be enough to force them back. 2 for 2 so far. Let's see if Bisa can catch them. There's going to be the blink ahead by MJW. Yep, using the flame break. He's near death. Doesn't matter, though. Got help from the Oracle. So it ends up being a 3 for 2, slightly favoring FDL. But more importantly, they got the Jug and the Void again.
Really amateur mistake right there from the Faceless Void. Like, that's a mistake that I've made in Veggies when doing scrims, and that's how you know it's a really amateur mistake. Like, as a Faceless Void, if you have Chronosphere, you should never be up on the front line against a hero like Bat Rider. Right. Like, you think you've won the fight because you've gotten a pick-off, and they won't contest you, but again, the only reason you can win fights, even 5 versus 4, where you have a numbers advantage, the only reason you can win that fight is because of Supernova combined with Chronosphere. So when they pick off the Faceless Void and Supernova's laid out, what is there to stop them? We talked about the lack of disables on DKB. They only have this big Faceless Void Chronosphere to rely upon. If that's gone, there's no protection for the egg, and therefore there's no real team fight oomph coming out from DKB.
Yep. Speaking of oomph, how about Mad? Back to the base again. Stan King actually finds himself on a killing spree, 3-0-4 on Stan King's Oracles. So certainly a good game for him. Man,
that's the life of the Oracle right there. Yeah. You know, that he's just like a hero that you take the last hit every single time. Like you like in pubs, I love playing that hero because I'm always going to take the last hit. Like they try and argue with me, and I'm just like, what? You want them to heal? You know, I have to take the last hit to make sure they won't heal. Come on.
11-4. Taking a look at our gold graph for the first time, or I would love to. I'm actually up. There we go. Never mind. They I am playing with
6K?
Somebody. Yeah, you're gonna have to look because I'm
6K
actually
gold and about 7,500.
I'm actually playing on Blaze's Steam account. And he's got screwed up hotkeys, so I have no idea what his gold graph hotkey is.
Silly Blaze.
Silly Blaze.
Either way, FDL are up
A bunch.
Big chunk. But for 15 minutes. Like, again, they just have to rely on the Juggernaut getting his Battle Fury and somehow getting super far ahead of Visa, but Juggernaut is not like an AFK farming hero. You know, he's a hero that wants to be able to move around with Omnislash and get kills, but the sad truth is he doesn't have targets he can reliably kill. So, and like, having reliable ganks is something that's actually quite important. And now he's gonna die, I think.
This is just a silly, silly death here. He just wanted to run up and auto-attack the Morphling for no real good reason. And they're going to try to chase it down. Fran's quite low health, below 120. But he's going to be able to make it away. But yeah, no, that's one of those. That's when the moment you die, you don't even complain. You just go, yeah, it's my bad. That was stupid. Because he literally just ran up into a dark lane at night, auto-attacked the Morphling twice, and died to a 4-man gank.
Yeah, they just lost so much map control. The sad part is Juggernaut has to like make some sort of plays, but he's dealing with double blink dagger initiators. He's never going to have a good time, and neither is Faceless Void. They just drafted themselves too greedy in some respects. Yep. First pick Phoenix, like we already kind of went over that. That's not a really strong hero to go down, but having Faceless Void and Juggernaut is like one of the few melee carries that you could say works okay with Faceless Void just because Omnislash, but I still think it's just like this weird combination where they picked up both their side lanes to be rather farmy heroes. Mm-hmm. And I say farmy because Juggernaut can't actually kill anything, so he inevitably just has to Battle Fury farm. Right, so two heroes that are going to be kind of farmy, and then a very like immobile hero at mid who also needs some farm.
Right.
If they can actually survive if they could have survived to like 20 minutes and the net worth was even, you could see DKB actually taking hold of this game just because, again, their team fight prowess is pretty good with these kind of heroes, and they can maybe snowball from there to a 40-minute victory. But they don't even have, like, high ground potential. So even in that narrative, right, where they're doing okay, they start snowballing, 35 minutes, they're up 10k gold or something, even then it looks bad just because they can't actually finish off the game against Morphling.
Looked like they were going to commit a little harder than they did. FDL now on the run. They're going to come back in, get the lasso on the Shanks, though. And here comes Morphling right on in. One's going to be dropped. That's going to be the Venge. And, of course, Phoenix. Panic R. Not going to work out any better for him than it does for me and my pubs. And now they catch up and get their boss as well. And this is beginning to get ugly. 3-0 on a very poorly executed gank. There was a Zeus ult that showed that FDL was going to be too far away from them to actually commit and actually accomplish anything, so they rushed blindly uphill and end up being caught by a massive reaction. And I don't even know what you say. I mean, you were going over all the reasons they're struggling. You know what else helps a lot? Not having an 0-4 Faceless Void that has nothing but Iron Talon and Boots. Usually that's a good strategy.
Yeah, you're facing up against all these really mobile blink heroes. You don't have a blink dagger and won't for probably at least another 10 minutes with the way this game is going. So it's just, he's never going to get off a good Chronosphere and therefore never going to get a good team fight.
Also, Timbersaw is a Highlander. He is immortal. He is sitting on 14 charges on his Bloodstone. He happens to have a Hood of Defiance with him as well, and he is very well leveled as well, sitting at level 13, which is tops on the board, right next to his Morphling, who essentially was given a free farm up at top. So I honestly just, when you look at the damage sources, I don't even foresee where they can find the damage they're going to need to be able to cope with FDL. Like, even if everything goes right, they're just so far behind in every measurable metric.
Yeah, this really is like the post-apocalyptic narrative that we're trying to create, where it's just like there is no hope for DKB because like inevitably when you get into these kind of games, the silver lining is like, but what if they survive and push it to like 60 minutes? Do they win the super late game? And the answer is still no. No, they don't, because they're facing a Timbersaw and a Morphling. Yeah, it's just not going to work out. Like, their heroes aren't terrible for super late game, but they're unlikely to beat Morph.
Well, solid pick here, Stan. In no man's land, that's not your side of the map, Oracle. He was really just farming around the bend, and yeah, that right there is a bravado death. Just flat out, I'm so far ahead, I can afford to do this and not care if I die. Does pick up all of his items. I didn't see if he got them before he died or after. I'm not sure that he cares that much, as he is sitting at 3-1 and 7. Has been a very impactful player, and the Oracle pick paying off in droves. So, okay, we've been negative for a while. We know, hang on, Lasso, DKB. Gonna lose Mantal. He's going to go ahead and use the ult again. This is going to be enough to force them back, so good use of the ult that time for the Phoenix. A good reaction from DKB to bail him out.
He survives.
Yep. He didn't die that
That's
time.
not what you want to say about Supernova, but honestly, it's you want to get something positive, AC. There it is. He survived.
Yep.
Like that.
They
that
got
is
a pick.
something
They survived.
Yeah, because I can't really like. I'm pretty good at like stretching the narrative to be able to find some positive lights, but this is going to be one of those tougher ones. We'll see. They have to get a good Chronosphere in when they push mids. But Timbersaw, like, here's the thing. FDL, the way they're going to play this is Timbersaw should always be the frontliner, right? So if they focus Timber and they do somehow manage to kill him, some godly miracle comes in and they actually output enough damage to pop him, then they're out of everything. And then the Morphling and the Bat Rider and the Lion, like, these very mobile heroes are going to come in. They're just going to clean up the fight afterwards.
Right.
So that's the thing, is like FDL will always position, if they know a potential team fight's coming, they'll always position CC on the front lines, especially now that he's super tanky, and he will just soak up all the damage. And if they say to themselves, oh, well, he's got a Hood of Defiance, let's just try and like initiate past him, like, let's try and get faces, let's sneak around or something and try and go on the back line. Well, then you're leaving a Timbersaw who still outputs tons of damage because it's pure damage and he has very high levels. He's still going to wreck you, right? That's one of the things. Like, Timbersaw is one of those mids where you have to deal with, but if you deal with him, it leaves the opening to the other carry on the team.
Right.
And vice versa. They go for Morphling, then Timbersaw is going to wreck you.
Now it's going to be a tower trade for a Roshan, and they actually going to try to contest this. They're sending three back.
I mean, they have to. They have such good Roshan defenders in Chronosphere and Supernova, but they don't. Oh God, Meto doesn't have a team. Oh, all right. They don't have the Phoenix for this defense.
They also don't have a Jug, and yeah, MJW is just going to go ahead and zone them out. Aegis picked up in the meantime, and they do end up getting the tower. So ultimately, it's the trade they could have taken anyway. But now with an Aegis on the Morphling, just completed his Ethereal Blade. Shotgun is cocked, ready to roll. And there's even a blink now on the Timber, so what little chance they had to out-initiate him or be more mobile than him has well past its moment. 5-15, FDL tripling up DKB, now pressing on the Tier 2. How long do you think before high ground?
My prediction, I was really thinking about it. I was like, I haven't seen DKB. I think by prediction I said 30 to 40 minutes, because I think that's like
Lasso on the mat.
Oh God.
And yeah, he just got.
What was he doing there?
He got two.
Why was he there? Why is he outside of his base? All right,
he's got a farm, dude.
Can I get in? Can I get in the coach slot here? Can I tell D? You don't leave your base. If they're gonna push you, don't leave your base. Stay in high ground. You have high ground defenders.
CC does not care. Literally just walks into a Sunray and is continuing to zone them as best he can. Bean once again with the Aegis in the inventory, and Oracle there to help support CC if he does happen to get into trouble at all. Lasso's going to be off cooldown in 40 seconds, so will not have it, but I don't think they need it. They're just going to be able to chin up here, chest out, And slowly peck away at these racks. And, I mean, the Void's going to be back up in 2 seconds, so maybe a last hurrah chrono is going to have to be the play. But like you've said, man, like they're just so good at staying separated out. Yep, here we go. Only got Bean.
Okay.
And CC actually walks into it. Bean didn't even die there, as he was bailed out by the Oracle. He's going to do what damage he can. May end up dropping. Doesn't matter as he'll pop up off the Aegis. There's going to be an Omni Slash, enough to kill off. No, actually enough to force the suicide by the Timber. He'll be right back into things. Bean actually did not pop his Aegis. They're continuing to right-click his way through. Sakala's down. Mad's next on the list. Double kill for Franz as they send what remains back to the fountain. And this is going to be a very simple cleanup of the rack. So pretty sure time's run out for DKB. It's time to go home, boys. Last call.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, their saving grace right now is the fact that the tier 2s are still up, but, you know, they... He almost died after he time walked off the stage.
I was
blade. Like, okay. Yeah, I mean, they didn't kill anything there. They didn't even take the Aegis away from the Morphling. The Timbersaw died, but he committed suicide. Like, he got a one-man Chronosphere when you need at least 4.
Yep.
But FDL won't give you that opportunity. They're going to have Morphling on the front. They're going to have Timbersaw on the front. Even if you hit them both, you're unlikely to be able to burst one of them down because you have an Oracle sitting in the back. And he's always going to make that saving grace.
Shanks down. Bean with his Lincoln Sphere to go with his Ethereal Blade. Still has his Aegis, by the way. He was skirting around with about 100 HP, it felt like, for a lot of that fight down in the bottom lane over the racks, but still manages to hang on to Roshan's prize. And it's hard to believe it's just 25 minutes in. We're sitting, it feels like a much longer game just because of the item development and the way things have kind of gone. But, you know, kill a minute, not too bad. And looks like they're just cleaning up the outer tier towers. Don't even know that we'll see a defense here at the top tier 2.
Yeah, I put 30 to 40 minutes for the first set of racks because I thought that was reasonable, but in the back of my head, I was like, I'm pretty sure FDL are just going to destroy this game. I was like, maybe I should make it like 20 to 30 and I was like, nah, I'm disrespecting DKB, but no, it really did turn out that way. Like, this is a team that shouldn't be able to push high ground by 25 minutes, but they're doing it a second time.
Well, when you think about how reactionary they've needed to play against these initiators of FDL, and the one hero that really is going to be the centerpiece of that, the Void, struggling so mightily early on, it's easy to understand how they wound up here. It's not that they're, I don't feel anyway, like they're completely outclassed. Just a bit of a rough draft, certainly a rough laning phase. And you did see them make a few good moves here and there, but largely, you know, what mistakes they made were just exacerbated by the fact that they're lacking so much in their item development as well as their level. So here we go. There's going to be a Chronosphere that catches Stan King and a bunch of creeps. Here we go with the Phoenix as well, and it's going to end up dropping behind that. The fight going about the way you would expect at this stage of the game. 2-0. Maybe we'll get one, and they will. That'll be the Lion. Sakula going to try to run now. MJW not going to be able to catch him as he does go ahead and use the Blade Fury, but pretty sure this is going to be at least one more set of racks, if not more. And yeah, he's just going to commit, stay and fight, stand his ground, and gets a couple of barrels of rock salt in his face for the trouble.
Good for you, dude. Don't go out. Don't lose the game inside the fountain.
Yeah.
Go out and fight him. Please pad your hero damage stats a little bit.
Oh, DKB trying to hang tough. Bean manages to get himself on a godlike streak before all is said and done.
Oh god, he's got the shotgun again. Yeah.
And Mad never did make it past the Vlads and his starting items plus boots. So just again a rough game for him, and GG will be called.
Well, that was a game of Dota 2.
That was an game.
Yeah. Pretty easy stuff. I don't know. It was like the draft was really favorable for FDL. Like I had them winning the draft.
Yeah.
Just based on the first 4 picks. And this is like everyone's saving their carry. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people are saving their carry, either their mid or their safe lane carry for last pick. Just